Hi fighting fans, Chips from the Fight IQ channel. Welcome to the second episode of our weekly series, the Fight IQ Show. We had a wild weekend of action with some pretty exciting fights, so I can't wait to share my thoughts with you all. For those who are new on this channel, I will start by ranking the top 5 fights that happened last weekend and tell you guys why you should watch it as well. I had a pretty tough choice to make as I watched UFC 291, Bellator vs Rising, the Crawford vs Spence, the Cage Warriors 158. To make this ranking, I was respecting the following criteria: excitement, the duration of the fight, the opposition level, and the way to finish the fight. After that, I will be leading you guys to the top 5 fights to watch next weekend. Let's cut to the chase and let's go to the ranking. Number 5, Matthews vs Flowers. Matthews really delivered a great performance, amazing striking from the beginning, good movement, good use of the front kick as well, which is a weapon too much underrated in MMA. Flowers brought a lot of aggressivity from the beginning, a lot of pressure on Matthews, but Matthews kept his composure. On the second round, Flowers took some powerful shots which made him be in trouble. After that, he tried to go on the ground. He put Matthews on the ground, but Matthews got the dominating position, and after that he submitted him with a rear naked choke. Number 4, Koreshkov vs Larkin. Koreshkov displayed all of his skill sets during that fight. Good movement, technical striking, good takedowns. He could never finish the fight on the ground though, because Larkin had a really great defense against that. In the third round there were some wild exchanges between both fighters as Koreshkov grew a bit tired. Larkin had maybe a chance to finish the fight, but he couldn't, so Koreshkov secured the win by unanimous decision. Number 3, Kopilov vs Ribeiro. Nice matchup between a technical fighter and a brawler. In the first round they both had their success. Kopilov landed more shots and more often than Ribeiro, but Ribeiro put Kopilov in a lot of trouble by the end of the first round. He almost finished the fight as well, but Kopilov survived. And at the beginning of the second round, Kopilov landed a real great high kick knockout. That will be one of the most viewed knockout of the weeks for sure. Number 2, Poirier vs KG, long expected bout for the BMF title and main event of the UFC 291. It didn't disappoint as both fighters put on their A games. They were changing shots, they were being equal in that domain. But in the second round, KG landed a beautiful high kick also that puts Poirier to sleep directly. Nothing to say after that. The whole arena got wild because of this. Amazing knockout. KG set it up perfectly with a feint of the right arm, then followed by this high kick. That was pretty amazing. Number 1, Spence vs Crawford, so the boxing match. It was really expected because there were 2 champions. It was to become the undisputed champion of the welterweight division. Spence came out really aggressively, putting a lot of pressure on Crawford. First round, sending wild shots, cutting the distance. But from the second round to the end of the fight, Crawford dominated without mercy. Crawford dominated. He dropped Spence a few times on his ass, and after that the referee also stopped the fight because he decided that Spence could not take it anymore. I have some honorable mentions for this week as well. To notice, Bonfim beat Giles with a nice guillotine and stays undefeated. It will be a tough prospect in the future for the UFC, and I will keep an eye on him. Easy win for Pitbull in the main event of the Bellator vs Rising. He really dominated the fight. He could have finished it way earlier. It was also painful to see Ferguson stack another loss. That's 6 in a row. He is almost 40 years old. I think he should definitely retire. Pereira got the split decision against Blachowicz. That was one of the fights I mentioned last week. Was not as exciting as I wanted to, but still nice fight, and Pereira got the split decision. There was also some pretty good fights in Cage Warriors 158, as the fight between Disegni and Torres strawweight division was pretty good, and the main event in the flyweight division between Ak and Martignoni was also really nice. Now guys, for the next weekend, the top 5 coming fights that I would recommend you to watch would be: number 5, Jake Paul vs Nate Diaz. It's not, of course, real boxing as some would say, but it will be entertaining to watch, that you like it or not. Diaz has decent boxing, is still in shape. He showed it in some vlogs, some videos that he can still fight. Jake Paul, as you know, it's a real good trash talker. It will be fun to watch for sure, and I think Jake Paul will win. Get that fight on DAZN if you buy the pay-per-view, of course. Number 4, Lineker vs Wong. That would happen at the One Fight Night this weekend. Funny to watch because Lineker and his hands of stones are always fun to watch. It will be against another good striker with a 100% finish rate in the One Championship. Stay tuned on this one, guy. Don't blink. It will be on Amazon or YouTube, depending on your region. Number 3, it will be Jessica Andrade against Tatiana Suarez. Also a nice matchup because even though Andrade stays on 2 losses in a row, she's always exciting to watch. She's tough, and that will be a good challenge against Tatiana Suarez, which is undefeated. But even if she's undefeated, she has only 1 fight in the last 4 years. So yeah, I would keep an eye on this fight. Number 2, Sandhagen versus Rob Font. That's the main event of the next UFC card. That's an exciting matchup between Sandhagen and Font. Sandhagen only lost during his UFC career against champions or former champions, so he's top of the category for sure. And that will be against Rob Font, which had also some tough match against the top of the category, even if I see him a bit under Sandhagen on this point. So I would say Sandhagen to win. You can watch that fight on the UFC Fight Pass. And number 1 fight to watch next weekend will be Alazov versus Grigorian. That's a kickboxing match, an explosive fight between 2 dynamic and elite kickboxers. Alazov has 3 KOs in his last 4 fights, and Grigorian 2 KOs in his last 4 fights. So for sure somebody will go to sleep. Yeah, I would say Alazov to win by KO. You can see that fight on Amazon or YouTube. Also something to keep your eye on. PFL is coming back in August. It will come back actually this weekend as well. So that's a MMA organization with some different way to rank the fighters. There is some tournaments along the year. So I would keep an eye on this too. Something else to watch would be Sabina Mazo that come back to LFA. She would be actually fighting in a 5-round main event in the LFA. She was in the UFC recently, but that didn't work out for her. Maybe it was too soon, but she's a good striker. And I think she's gonna win that fight. Last thing to mention would be Lara versus Garcia in a boxing match for the WA middleweight title. So that's it for this week, guys. I hope you liked it. If you did, please punch that subscription button. Please follow me on my social medias, as there will be maybe some surprises for you guys in the future. Please also let me in comments which fight did you enjoy, which fight are you expecting in the future. After that, I'll see you next week and enjoy the fights.